Hello everyone, Inferior Otaku here. Today I'm going to be giving a deck tech for the standard deck that I'll be using in my videos until Innistrad rotates out this fall. I call this deck Black-White Token Control, and it's really unlike any deck I've ever seen before. It's a homebrew. I've never seen anyone else play anything like it. And the reason I like this deck is because, really, three main things. It's very cheap, only 2 colors to fix. The most expensive cards are the Godless Shrines. And the other reason is because this deck is fun to play. This deck has a number of remarkable synergies that are all fun to win with or just to play in general. And the third reason is that I think this deck does very well against the current meta. No one, since it's a homebrew deck, no one's going to really expect it. And also, I think mainly the reason why I think it's good against the current meta is that the removal is unconventional enough to deal with a lot of the big threats, the big creature threats that people are playing, like Falkenrath Aristocrat and Boros Reckoner. I think that Mutilate and Tragic Slip and Oblivion Ring are 3 solid answers to each of those. So I'm going to be posting the deck list in the description, but I'd like to also run through it right in the video, just so you can see the cards I'm talking about. Let's start with the lands. Pretty solid 25 land base for a control deck. 5 plains, 14 swamps, 4 Godless Shrines, the most expensive card in the deck, 2 Vault of the Archangel, synergizes incredibly well with the token production this deck packs, stalls out the board really well. Creatures, I have run 12, 4 Desecration Demon, 2 Doomed Traveler, 4 Blood Artist, and 2 Vampire Nighthawk versus aggro. Enchantments, I'm running 3 Oblivion Ring just for standard removal, and 2 Underworld Connections. Instants, I'm only running 4 Instants, Tragic Slip, and so this is one thing I think this deck really lacks, is instant speed action, but I think that if you're going to pick an instant in black, Tragic Slip is one of the best ones to pick, and I've never really felt this deck lack any instant speed anything, as long as I'm packing 4 Tragic Slips. As far as Planeswalkers go, I'm running 2, Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. You have to run them in white-black, pretty much. Sorceries, 4 Mutilate, 2 Sign in Blood, 4 Lingering Souls, and 2 Increasing Devotion. That's main deck. In the sideboard, I run 1 Staff of Nin to sideboard in against Jund with creatures I can ping out, decks like that, and also against Control for my own personal Howling Mine. Against aggro, I sign in these 2 Vampire Nighthawks because they absolutely lock down the board against aggro. Rest in peace, 2 words, Junk Reanimator. My deck doesn't even like Rest in Peace most of the time, and it still makes the sideboard because that deck is just so annoying. Obzedat Ghost Council, sideboard in against Control. Appetite for Brains against Reanimator in mid-range. Get Falkenrath Aristocrat, get a Restoration Angel. Duress to get rid of Sphinx's Revelation, Rakdos' Return. And finally, 2 Merciless Evictions to deal with Gavony Township type decks that my Mutilate is not powerful enough to deal with. Alright, now that we see what this deck is packing, let's take a look at how the synergies in the deck work. I really think that the most important synergy, the one that I use most often, that I'm happiest to pull off, is really the Blood Artist Mutilate synergy. These 2 cards combo really well together. If I can get an Increasing Devotion on the field, and then mutilate the board with a Blood Artist out, that's just 6 damage on its own, and if my opponent has any creatures out, that's just really a solid way to create a very significant life swing. The best part about running these 2 token production cards in particular, and Sorin, Lord of Innistrad, is that these 2 cards have flashback, and Sorin will stay on the board after Mutilate, so this deck is really resilient to Wrath as well. It comes from my opponent if I'm not prepared for it. The reason why I chose Mutilate over any other sort of removal is that it's easy, it deals with creatures with Indestructible, and it also generally does not kill my 6/6 Desecration Demon. It's very difficult to mutilate with 6 swamps on board. The mere odds of drawing into that many swamps is very unlikely. The other synergies are really my token production and Sorin. Sorin's -2, combined with Vault of the Archangel, combined with Lingering Souls and Increasing Devotion, means that you're going to be swinging in for a lot of power if your opponent doesn't wrath the board. And the other, I guess it's not really a synergy, but a Desecration Demon, if I happen to have a Blood Artist out, can make life very difficult for my opponent, because either they sack a creature and take one from Blood Artist, or they let 6 or more in from Desecration Demon. Yeah, so all in all, I think this deck packs a great kit, a number of win conditions, all of which are fantastic and tough to deal with, I'd like to think. During playtesting, this deck has done very well. in real life and on the internet. I do own the other reason I play this deck is because I actually own it in real life. So I feel much more. Yeah, I feel better about myself not playing some net deck and instead one that I actually own all the cards to. So yeah, I am curious to see how this deck is going to do with more protracted testing, and I can't wait to forward the results to you. So this has been the deck tech for Black-White Control Tokens, and I'll catch you later. Inferior Otaku signing out.